Today I will share two different floral arrangements using the same stamp, the same techniques, and more or less the same ink colors. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Creative Coloring with Erum. I have two cards to share with you today. I will use ink blending on the background of both cards, but I will change the direction of the inking and I will also change the arrangement of my images. I will use the Botanical Illustrations stamp set, and I will also use the coloring stencils that come with the bundle plus the coordinating die set. I will use Sunray Crisp Dye Ink to stamp several images on classic Crest solar white cardstock. You can directly stamp this in black ink and go over the panel with a heat tool to set the ink, but I will stamp the images again in black ink after I'm done with the inking to avoid smearing the black ink. For the base layer of the flower, I will apply Fuchsia Crisp Dye Ink, and I won't apply this uniformly. Instead, I will keep this darker on one side. Now this is up to you where you want to add more ink. I think that the portion that's closer to me should be darker. Next, I will place the layering stencil and apply Magenta Crisp Dye Ink through it. Again, I will try to keep the intensity darker on the lower portion of the flower. Keeping the stencil in place, I will selectively add Cosmic Berry Crisp Dye Ink to the center and the lower portion. For the flower center, I will add Sunray Crisp Dye Ink. And to add a bit of shading to this area, I will add the leftover pink ink on the blending brush, just a smidge onto the lower edge. For the leaves, I will start by applying Sweet Leaf Crisp Dye Ink, and I will keep the tips of the leaves lighter and add more ink to the base of the leaves. Keeping the stencil in place, I will add a bit of Hunter Green Crisp Dye Ink to add a bit of shading to the base. Next, I will place the layering stencil, apply Hunter Green Crisp Dye Ink with a heavy hand on the base, and move it to the tips of the leaves. Because I like the shading on the base layer of the leaves so much, I thought I would add the same to the flowers too. So I will show you the flower once more. I applied the fuchsia base layer and made the base of the flower darker, the connecting points that is. Then keeping the stencil in place, I also added a bit of Magenta Crisp Dye Ink to the base layer. You can see the shading now. Then I will place the layering stencil and add the Magenta Crisp Dye Ink again, but this time with a heavy hand in the center, and move it outwards to the tips of the flower petals. Then I will come in with Cosmic Berry Crisp Dye Ink and add it to the center and diffuse it outwards. I will ink all the images in the same manner and then place the panel back into the stamp positioner and stamp the images in Obsidian Pigment Ink. Then I will use the coordinating die to die cut the images. Here are all the images, and I also stamped and inked a few more for the other card. This is the first layout I'm planning. I think it is different and easy. For my background, I will use the large blending brush and Lagoon Crisp Dye Ink and create an ombre inked panel with the inking from the side, mostly diagonal, with the top right corner with little to no inking. Next, I will add iridescent ink spray splatters with my paintbrush. It won't show in photos or videos, but it looks beautiful in person. Then I will also add a few black paint splatters because it is tough for me not to add them. I stamped the sentiment, and now I will adhere the image with instant dimension foam tape. You can also directly glue this. I will cut off the overhanging pieces. I like how the flower is tucked in between the leaves. I actually had quite a few ideas for arranging the florals for this set, but I decided just to make two cards. On to the next arrangement. I will show how this looks on navy cardstock first, in case you don't want to do the inking. And you can see that it looks really cool and very nice on dark cardstock as well. So you can go for this as well. But for my second card, I'm going to use Ultramarine Crisp Dye Ink. And I will start applying this right in the middle, in the center of the panel, with a heavy hand, as most of this will be hidden. You will only be able to see a soft halo of inking. I will place my arrangement on and off to check if I am on the right track or if I need more inking. When I checked it out, I thought I could increase my inking more, and then I thought I would make it more intense. Once I was happy with the look, I added splatters of clean water, which immediately reacted to the ink. I did not even have to clean the water droplets or anything. Then I added splatters of iridescent ink spray and used the heat tool to dry the panel completely. After that, I added black paint splatters. Then I adhered the flowers with instant dimension foam tape, and for the leaves, I pinched them to add a bit more dimension and then glued them with liquid adhesive. I hope you liked the 2 different floral arrangements for the Botanical Illustration stamp set. Even though the coloring stencils give an amazing result, to step them even further, be sure to give ink shading a try. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!